Hi, my name's Kat, and in this video Reddit has been asked, serious Redditors who have done DMT, what was your experience like? I can't really describe it, and the longer it's been since I used it, the memory fades more and more, very much like a dream. Slipping into it was like wearing some kind of tight wetsuit. I remember hearing a crackling, crunching sound, like opening a bag of chips. Then I was in this infinite space of colour and space. Something showed me scenes from my life, although I don't remember any of them. I was watching it from overhead. Sort of like a flip book of Polaroids or something. Whatever it was showing me these things was warm and somehow made of light. It was something familiar and soothing. After I woke up, I was the most at peace I had ever felt. I knew everything while I was there, and I came to terms with everything good and bad I had ever done or experienced. I just kind of knew everything was going to be okay. I was gone for like 8 minutes. It was an entire lifetime and the blink of an eye, all at the same time. Edit. Whoa. Typing that out makes me look totally nuts. I have to go with the other two and say indescribable. The best way I can put it is immediately after hitting it, I left. The room didn't exist, my spotter didn't exist, and I ended up underwater. But not underwater? I honestly think that alien abductions are the brain somehow flooding your system with DMT, because at some point I was laying down and there were things around me. People, but made of various polygons. One was most certainly a queen. She didn't tell me that, but I knew. I wasn't scared and there was no probing that I can recall, but I ended up getting an insane headache, and that's about where I started being me again. The headache faded to a dull throb, totally manageable. It went away after 30 seconds to an hour. I couldn't tell you which it was. None of what I just said is even close to an adequate description of what went down, but it's the best I can do without gaining full mastery of the... I'm a dog for real asked, did they communicate anything to you? Bower-Betty replied, not that I know of. They seemed, I don't want to say friendly, but I guess benevolent. I didn't feel threatened at all. I felt secure, like laying there was the best and safest thing I could do at that moment. Intense and very alien-like. Felt like every cell in my body exploded. Then powerful euphoria. Got the sensation I was being lifted to space, but I remained grounded. Hallucinations ensued. Everything glimmered and rippled. A friend sitting right next to had 3 eyes out of my peripherals. Kind of freaked me out. Then out of nowhere, a misty mass of reddish, transparent fractal patterns materialized in front of me and told me that God and the devil are the same. I felt particularly confused and repeated what it had said. My friends gave me strange looks. Overall, a very powerful, psychedelic and mystifying experience. I don't really know what to think about it or how it's changed me in any way, but one hell of a unique experience. I've smoked DMT nearly 10 times. I've woken up and smoked, I loved it that much. I won't go into too much detail since there's plenty of accurate enough, or at least as accurate as there can be, descriptions of the experience. It smells like mothballs and turns to a liquid when heated, which really tripped me out the first time I smoked it since I didn't know this. I've had trips where I've visited other beings in different worlds and dimensions, all extremely happy for me to be visiting, all very welcoming. I've had trips where I was surrounded by these beings that were operating on me and pouring a fluid made of DNA and robotics into my bloodstream. It tickled a lot. Every time when the trip started to fade, the beings would bid me farewell very warmly. I was always incredibly gappy throughout the trip, and I have bad trips on every nearly psychedelic I've tried, which is a good amount. I've started to slip into a bad trip on DMT, but the experience was overwhelming. I could not be blown away. Once I regained mostly normal consciousness, it always felt like I was slipping back into my skin, like my body was this tight prison cell for my mind. It was uncomfortable and I squirmed quite a bit each time. Very fudging weird. I'm a dog for real asked, did they communicate anything specific to you? It's been a while since I've done it. I've definitely had some epithemes that shaped who I am now, but I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly what they were anymore. It's the only psychedelic I'd still do. It's kind of like saliva, except it doesn't suck. It lasts like 10 minutes and takes you to a completely different place. I've been to Neon City, Colour Block World, and a fly flying around a room that I've never been in before. And like some people, I've never talked to any people or aliens in these places. It would be like if you took someone from an uncontacted tribe and dropped them in Times Square with no explanation. I'd highly recommend it. Just do it in a place that is safe with someone sober watching you. Most people just sit there with a blank look on their face and don't move, but you are in a completely another world. Meaning you can't deal with anything in this world until the effects wear off. Also, it burns your lungs pretty good and tastes like poop, so be ready for that. By the way, the experience is indescribable to those who haven't tried it. In one sentence, an explosion of consciousness, being, and imagination. Brave Saint said, came to say this. I couldn't describe it to you unless you had done it as well. And even then we wouldn't be describing the trips we had so much as relating to one another's experiences. Like, I could try to explain what it's like to you, but you wouldn't understand it, as in it makes no sense. Does that help explain? Yeah, this is actually really helpful. It sounds like it's the most personal trip of any drug, which sounds enticing. My brother is a psychonaut and talked to me about it a few times. I wanted to see if other people enjoyed it just as much. Sounds like it's generally inexplicable. Haha. Flying through hyperspace whilst looking at a black carbon fibre pyramid with Mayan scriptures written all over it, spin around in front of a light source. It was pretty cool. As I was taking a third inhale, I started to feel a circle of energy form in the back of my throat. As I swallowed, I felt it go down and spread through my whole body. And as I finally exhaled, I felt my body slowly rise and shoot straight forward at the speed of light. Whilst colours of indescribable neon brightness shot past, complex geometric shapes began to form, and I felt my body slowing in space but still moving forward. A landscape began to form, much like our own, but with every colour in the spectrum intensified. Shapes were more jagged like the mountains in the distance, and yet everything was connected by fractal pattern. As I look up, I see a figure towering behind the mountains. It was a calming presence made of circles and sharp lines. I also saw a bright circle in the sky that began to warp everything around it until sharp geometric lines turned into more organic bloopy goop whilst maintaining its neon colour and brightness. I felt my consciousness being pulled in. As I moved through the goop, two separate visions of my two nieces appear. One on the left, one on the right. The images seemed to move by fast, but I was able to feel each memory individually as I was reliving them. After that, the most I remember is feeling like reality slowly coming back to view, except the fractal pattern from before remained, connecting everything in my view. The experience left me with an overwhelming feeling of connectivity to my family and the world. DMT is like mushrooms times a million, plus aliens. Joe Rogan. I actually take friends on skydiving adventures in Utah to do DMT. It started when I had a couple of buddies that returned from the military and would drink a lot and had a lot of anger issues. I thought it was something that could help them reset and potentially find peace again. So it's a week-long excursion to Moab, Utah, where we go kayaking, mountain climbing, swimming, skydiving, etc. So it's a week-long excursion to Moab, Utah, where we go kayaking, mountain climbing, swimming, skydiving, etc. The second night after we kind of settle in, we smoke the DMT. But only after the skydiving, a long day of extreme physical activity. So the idea there, and I wish I could do some actual research on it, is that we want to drain the body and adrenaline gland. I think with a lot of hallucinogens when people have bad trips, it's because they don't prep their body and emotions properly. All the physical activity helps the body's natural receptors and the juices flowing. Also, we don't need the fight or flight instinct being triggered in a trip. So the skydiving uses up and drops this epinephrine levels, so it's not an issue. That night we smoked the DMT at our camps and it is incredible. It's like dying but being okay with it. Flying into the universe, realising that everything is connected and that you only want to know more and more about everything. Then coming to, being super happy that you're alive again and absorbing it all. I've really helped myself and my military friends. They went back to doing the hobbies they enjoyed before they went into the service. Only downside maybe was that one of them would always start debating his wife that there is no God and that it's okay there isn't. Which for his wife wasn't okay. Lol. It's a great experience and I think it would really benefit a lot of people if done properly. Businessman's acid. Quite indescribable. I believe that the greatest truths of the universe don't lie outside. In the study of the stars and the planets, they lie deep within us. In the magnificence of our heart and mind and soul. Until we understand what is within, we can't understand what is without. I sensed the energy of the cosmos. It was like a harmonious orchestra vibrating the universe into existence. To experience thinking outside the brain is to enter a world of instantaneous connections that make ordinary thinking, i.e. those aspects limited by the physical brain and the speed of light seem like some hopelessly sleepy and plodding event. Our truest, deepest self is completely free. It is not crippled or compromised by past actions or concern with identity or status. It comprehends that it has no need to fear the earthly world, and therefore it has no need to build itself up through fame or wealth or conquest. Our internal spiritual self is more real than we ever perceive in this physical realm, and has divine connection to the infinite love of the Creator. So quite a few of them experiences were quite similar, and personally I've never wanted to try DMT myself before, but after reading these experiences I'm kind of having second thoughts. I've got an open mind now to see perhaps what DMT would be like, and who knows, I might be the next person to be given my experience on Reddit. Anyway, this video is sponsored by me. Sweet Mouthful Mixes brings pick and mix sweets straight to your door. Choose up to 10 scoops of your favourite sweets, or pick a pre-packed bag. Sweet Mouthful Mixes has a 5-star hygiene rating, and full PPE is worn whilst making the bags. With over 50 sweets to choose from, you're guaranteed to find something you like. Treat yourself, you've earned it. Get 20% off with code REDDIT.